Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naistiki. So continuing with our discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 2, text 25 onwards. Bhejire manyo athagre bhagvantam adhokshajam sattvam vishuddham kshemaya kalpante ye anutaniha. So Sud Goswami is further saying, previously all the great sages rendered service unto the personality of Godhead due to his existence above the three modes of material nature. They worshipped him to become free from material conditions and thus derive the ultimate benefit. Whoever follows such great authorities is also eligible for liberation from the material world. So here, the great sages who rendered service unto Krishna, because Krishna is above the three modes of material nature, and so the service is also above the three modes of material nature. And the person also slowly he gets to be above the three modes of material nature. The Prabhupada writes in the purport, the ultimate aim of religious performances is to release oneself from material bondage and regain the life of freedom in the transcendental world, where the personality of Godhead is the supreme person, where he himself resides. That's the ultimate aim. But people who don't know that, they strive to live in this material world. They worship different demigods, like in the next verses, this description will come. And they try to be comfortable here only, instead of trying to get out of here. And that's why the shloka says, whoever follows such great authorities is also eligible for liberation from the material world. So great authorities means any devotee who is serving the Supreme Lord is a great authority. But the great authorities mentioned here is the Mahajans, or the 12 Mahajans. And that's what Prabhupada mentions. Laws of religion, therefore, are directly enacted by the personality of Godhead, and except for the Mahajans or the authorized agents of the Lord, no one knows the purpose of religion. So these 12 authorities, Mahajans, great authorities, later on the names will come. If I remember correctly, Brahmaji, Shivji, Narad, Yamraj, four Kumaras, Manu, Kapil Dev, Bhishma Pitama, Prahlad Maharaj, just like that. If I'm remembering them all, 12 Mahajans are there. So, Prabhupada, there are 12 particular agents of the Lord who knows the purpose of religion, and all of them render transcendental service unto Krishna. Persons who desire their own good may follow these Mahajans and thus attain the supreme benefit. But the Mahajans, yes, these 12 are mentioned in the scriptures. They are great personalities. They know the ultimate purpose of religion. But then there are other people also, like Prabhupada writes, or the authorized agents of the Lord, or the people who are authorized by the Lord, who have come in the parampara, so they can also be considered as Mahajan. Just like Prabhupada's Sanskrit editor was Pradyumna Prabhu in America. So Pradyumna Prabhu, he used to edit all the translations are given by Pradyumna Prabhu of all these shlokas, especially from second canto onwards. And Prabhupada would look at it and he would agree or he would change if he had to. So once Pradyumna Prabhu told Prabhupada, so 12 Mahajans are mentioned in the scriptures. I think you're the 13th Mahajan. Prabhupada said, well, you are 14th. So anybody who comes in disciplic succession and who knows the purpose of religion, who's preaching that message of God, he can be considered as a Mahajan. So Prabhupada definitely is a Mahajan. But in the scripture, these 12 particular margins are mentioned. So that's what Prabhupada is mentioning here. So anybody who follows such great authorities is also eligible for liberation from this material world. And what these great authorities do, they worship, they render transcendental service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And those who don't, what do? Mumukshva ghora rupan hitva bhutpati natha narayan kalaha shanta bhajanti hi anasuyava. Those who are serious about liberation are certainly non-envious, and they respect all. Yet they reject the horrible and ghastly form of the demigods and worship only the all blissful forms of Lord Vishnu and his plenary portions. So those who are serious about liberation are certainly non-envious. So what does it mean? Because this is a very important word, it comes here. And in fact, Krishna also uses this word anasuyava for Arjun in Bhagavad Gita, and he tells him, because you're non-envious, I am giving you this knowledge. So Arjun had this quality of being non-envious. So non-envious. Envy means when somebody has something better or more than us, and we don't have it, and we desire to have it, and we become envious of him, thinking why he has it and why I don't have it. So that's a Prabhupada, those who are serious about liberation are certainly non-envious. Why? Because they understand that everything goes on, or anybody has any quality or any asset or any property is because of the mercy of Krishna. That's all. If I become envious of somebody, thinking he has some position, some money, some quality, that means I don't have faith in Krishna. That means I am not really serious about liberation, means I am going to stay here in the material and trying to somehow take over that position or try to get that quality and try to get the power, prestige, position for me, so that people worship me, people respect me, this, that. A devotee is certainly non-envious because he understands it's all mercy of Krishna. Maybe when Krishna is more merciful on me, and when he thinks this quality or this power, this position is helpful for me in bhakti, he can award me. If he doesn't think it's good for me, it's necessary for me, it's important for me, he won't give it to me. Simple as that. So devotee is certainly non-envious. He doesn't want to be envious. But in the material world, everybody is envious of everybody else. And when the envy becomes more prominent, more strong, then like all the demons we discussed, like Ravan and Hiranyakashipu, they were envious of the Supreme Lord because they had nobody in the material world who could be competing against them. So they were envious of the Supreme Lord. How come he is having everything? He has, like Ravan was envious of Ravan. Why he has this beautiful lady, Sita, as his wife? I should be enjoying this woman, not him. This is enviousness. But the devotees are certainly non-envious. Hanumanji never became envious of Ram. Shabri never became envious of Ram. Lakshman, Bharat, they were never envious of Ram. They were always rendering service with love and devotion. So this is a special quality of a devotee. He is certainly non-envious of anybody. Forget about the Supreme Lord. Anybody, even in the material world, he is non-envious of. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, who is the original person of the Vishnu categories, expands himself in two different categories, namely integrated plenary portions and separated parts and parcels. Means the Krishna, he expands himself in two different categories. Means one is Swansha and one is Vibhinansha. Swansha is his plenary portions, means Narayan form or Vishnu, Balram, Sankarshan, Anirudh, Pradyumna, Vasudev, and so on. And the Vibhinansha. Vibhinansha are all the jivas, just like us. The separated parts and parcels are the servitors. So we are all his servants. And the integrated plenary portions of Vishnu Tattvas are the worshipful objects of service. So they are the objects of service and we are the servants. Simple as that. All demigods who are empowered by the Supreme Lord are also separated parts and parcels. So all the demigods, they also come in Jiva Tattva, Jiva category. They do not belong to the categories of Vishnu Tattva. The Vishnu Tattvas are living beings equally as powerful as the original form of the personality of Godhead, and they display different categories of power in consideration of different times and circumstances. The separated parts and parcels are powerful by limitation. So jivas are powerful, but they have their own limitation. They do not have unlimited power like the Vishnu Tattvas. So then Prabhupada, the separated parts and parcels have different positions in the estimation of material powers. And some of them are like Kal Bhairav, Shamshan Bhairav, Shani, Mahakali, Chandika, etc. So all the jivas, they also come in different categories. And some of them are these demigods in the mode of ignorance. Or they represent this mode of ignorance. The demigods, say all these Kal Bhairav, Shamshan Bhairav, Shani, Mahakali, Chandika, these are all positions, they are not persons. The jiva who is qualified to be at that position, he is given that position for a period of one manvantar, for a period of rule of one manu, which is 71 Chatur Yugas. So one Chatur Yuga is Satyug, Tretayug, Dwapar Kalyug. So combination of that times 71, that is the time duration of the rule of a Manu. And all these demigods, they exist, that particular jiva exists in that position for one period of Manu. Except like Lord Shiva is a different category. He's a Shiv Tattva. He's not a position, he's a person. Durgaji, that's also not a position, it's a person. Hanumanji is expansion of Shivji. So he's not a position. Like none of us can become Hanuman or Shiva or Durga. But if we want, we can become like Kal Bhairav, Shamshan Bhairav, Shani, Mahakali, Chandika, all these categories, we can become that. Or Indra, or Chandra, or Surya, or Varun, we can become that. So these demigods are worshipped mostly by those who are in the lowest categories of the mode of darkness or ignorance. So there are different demigods for different people to worship, but those who don't want liberation from the material world. They just want to somehow enjoy here or somehow get rid of their sufferings that they are suffering from here. They worship them. Other demigods like Brahma, Shiva, Surya, Ganesh, and many similar deities are worshipped by men in the mode of passion, are shown by their desire for material enjoyment. But those who are actually situated in the mode of goodness, Sattvagun, of material nature, worship only Vishnu Tattvas. Vishnu Tattvas are represented by various names and forms such as Narayan, Damodar, Vaman, Govind, Adhokshaja. So those who are in the mode of goodness, they definitely worship Vishnu Tattvas. And those who want to go beyond goodness, they definitely worship Vishnu. Highly qualified Brahmins situated in the mode of goodness have no grudges against the mode of worship of others. They have all respect for other demigods, even though they may look ghastly, like Kal Bhairav or Mahakali. They know very well that these horrible features of the Supreme Lord are all different servitors of the Lord under different conditions. Yet they reject the worship of both horrible and attractive features of the demigods, and they concentrate only on the forms of Vishnu because they are serious about liberation from the material conditions. So the really qualified Brahmins or the devotees, even devotees of the Supreme Lord, they have nothing against the demigods, no matter which form the demigods are in. whether they are Kal Bhairav, Mahakali, which are very, very ghor rupan, this word has come, ghastly forms, or even against any other demigod. That's how we should be. We should respect everybody. We should respect all the demigods. They are all part and parcels of Krishna. In fact, demigods are in a higher platform than us because they have been given in charge of various departments of the universe to take care of. They've given in charge by Krishna based on their qualifications. So in that way, we should respect them. Yes, they are specially preferred by Krishna to be on this position. But worship-wise, worshipping is only for Krishna. We should respect every demigod. There's nothing wrong with that. But for worship, we should always approach Krishna. Or just like what's her name? Charu Mataji, when she asked a question about going to different temples to worship demigods, like she said, many people go to worship Shanidev. Because Shanidev, when he comes in somebody's horoscope, then 7.5 years he sits there and he creates lots of issues. But if because of family tradition one has to go and worship Shanidev also, then one can worship him as a Vaishnava, as a devotee of Krishna, and ask him that please remove the obstacles on my path of bhakti. That's all. Of course, Krishna's holy name is more powerful than any other worship of the demigod. But even if somebody has to go to the temple of a demigod, or somebody goes there, it's okay, but worship him like that. It's okay. They can help a devotee of the Lord. The demigods, even to the stage of Brahma, the supreme of all the demigods, cannot offer liberation to anyone. Hiranyakashipu underwent a severe type of penance to become eternal in life, but his worshipful deity, Brahma, could not satisfy him with such blessings. Therefore, Vishnu and none else is called Mukti Path, or the personality of Godhead who can bestow upon us mukti or liberation. So Krishna or Vishnu only can bestow this liberation from this material world on us. No one else can. But it depends on the person's goal. What's my ultimate goal? What I'm looking for. If I'm looking for liberation, I'll definitely go to worship Vishnu. In fact, there is a wonderful story. Before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, many years before that, there were two brothers. One was Chandidas and other's name I don't remember. And they both were neighbors, and their houses were right next to each other, and they had a boundary wall that was common to both the houses. And near the boundary wall, there was a tree of very fragrant flowers. So Chandidas, as you know the name, so he was a devotee of Devi Chandi. So he used to take flowers from this tree and offer them to Chandi every day. And his brother was a Vaishnava, and he had a Shaligram Shila. So he would take flowers from the same tree and offer to his Shaligram Shila every day. And every day this worship was going on for so many years. So one day, somehow, what happened, this brother, the Vaishnava brother, he took the flowers, he offered them to Shaligram, and somehow he put them back on the boundary wall. Chandidas, not knowing that these flowers are offered to Shaligram, so he picked up those flowers and offered them to his deity, Chandi. And when he offered those flowers to Chandi, Devi Chandi appeared. And she asked, "What do you want?" And Chandidas said, first he was scared, how come Devi Chandi appeared from the deity? And then he folded hands, he said, "Devi, please tell me, what did I do that you appeared today in your personal form?" She said, "Because you offered me the prasad of Shaligramji, of Mahavishnu, of Vishnu himself." Chandi said, "But How come you are pleased? She said, actually, we all are devotees, we all are servants of Vishnu. So today you gave me prasad of Vishnu, so I'm very pleased. Ask me, what do you want? So Chandidas says, so you all are devotees of Vishnu? She said, yeah. So he asked, so it would be better if I also become a devotee of Vishnu? She said, definitely, that's the best thing to do. So Chandidas said, why didn't you tell me before? So for so many years I have been worshipping you. Why didn't you tell me before? Devi said, because you never asked this before. If you had asked, we could have provided you with the answer. But you never asked. You were always asking for material things. So we gave you the material things. So Chandidas then he understood that the best thing is to serve Lord Vishnu. So then afterwards he gave up this service and then he took up the service of serving Lord Vishnu. And he became such a great poet of Vaishnava tradition. He wrote so many beautiful bhajans that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself used to sing the bhajans written by Chandidas. There were only few devotees, Chandidas, Vidyapati, Jayadev Goswami, uh, and there was one more. And that's what the bhajans of these people, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to listen to. Although his name always remained Chandidas, he never changed the name. But this is a fact. All the demigods, they are also devotees of Krishna. They are also devotees of Vishnu. But since we don't approach them in that manner, in that fashion, they don't give the proper benedictions. They can give much more than just some few rupees or few money or better health or whatever. They can help us on the path of bhakti if we ask them for this. So Prabhupada ends his purpose with that. It's for this reason only that the candidates of liberation deliberately reject the worship of the demigods, although they have no disrespect for any of them. The demigods can award the worshippers some temporary benefit only and not the ultimate one. That's the key. Although we should always respect all the demigods. रजस्तमः प्रकृत्या संशीला भजन्ति वै पितृभूत प्रजेशादीन श्रियैश्वर्य प्रजेप्सवः. Those who are in the mode of passion and ignorance worship those in the same category, namely the forefathers, other living beings, and the demigods who are in charge of cosmic activities. For they are urged by a desire to be materially benefited with women, wealth, power, and progeny. The Prabhupada writing, there is no need to worship demigods of whatsoever category if one is serious about going back to Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly said that those who are mad after material enjoyment approach the different demigods for temporary benefits, which are meant for men with the poor fund of knowledge. We should never desire to increase the depth of material enjoyment. Material enjoyment should be accepted only up to the point of the bare necessities of life and not more or less than that. But that doesn't mean you all should quit your jobs and just sit at home. It doesn't mean that. It means what actually it means, one should not approach the demigods for more and more material enjoyment. And secondly, we should not be attached to the wealth. We should accept whatever is coming by the mercy of Krishna, by our hard work, but try to use it, try to engage it in the service of Krishna as much as possible. So that should be a real motto. Not to, just like in Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami says, we work over endeavor, work like 14, 16, 18 hours a day to make more and more and more and more. And in that, not use it at all. In the service of Krishna also, not use it. Just be happy with, I have so much of wealth. That should not be the aim of life. Aim of life is to, yes, work hard. Nobody is saying to become lazy. Make money. Nothing wrong with making money. But use it in the service of Krishna. But at the same time, when we are making money, we should try to become Krishna conscious, so that the consciousness does not get affected by the wealth. It doesn't mean that we have to take this vow of poverty only to be Krishna conscious. No, it doesn't. There's no guarantee that somebody who's poor is going to become Krishna conscious. No. Idea is to become Krishna conscious, no matter how. If wealth can help in it, yes, go for money, make lots of money. But one should not get attached. One should understand it's only by mercy of Krishna. I got this wealth and only for the service of Krishna, I'll use this wealth. Lord Shri Krishna, when he was personally present at Vrajadham, stopped the worship of demigod Indra and advised the residents of Vraj to worship by their business and to have faith in God. Worshipping the multi-demigods for material gain is practically a perversity of religion. This sort of religious activity has been condemned in the very beginning in the Bhagavatam as Canto Dharma. There is only one religion in the world to be followed by one and all, and that is the Bhagavad Dharma, or the religion which teaches one to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead and no one else. So the ultimate aim of life is liberation, so one should aspire for liberation by worshipping Krishna. And if any facilities are there, if Krishna wants, he can give lots of facilities. If they are helpful for our bhakti. And if he doesn't want, he will not give the facility, if that helps us in the bhakti. So if one is up to at that level of surrender, then it's okay. But if it's not, first of all, we should not imitate others in their level of surrender. Somebody could be at very high level of surrender. He can go on living in poor poverty conditions and still do bhakti. Maybe we are not at that level that if I'm poor, then if my mind is affected, if I'm disturbed, then better than living bhakti, better make money. Go make money and do bhakti. Keep on chanting, keep on doing bhakti. That is more important. Just like in the story of Sudama Vipra and his wife. Sudama was very poor and he won't even go beg to Krishna to give him money. He was happy in that condition. But his wife, she could not see his condition like that. So she asked Sudama, go to Dwarka, go, he's your friend, Dwarkadhish is your friend, he can give you lots of wealth. She could not see him in that condition, that's why. And although Sudama, when he went to Dwarka, he could not ask Krishna for money. Krishna himself, he gave. Because, the question is asked, why Krishna didn't give him for so many years? Because for so many years, Sudama still didn't ask, but even his wife never asked. So Krishna does not go beyond the desire of his devotees. So when his wife wanted it, then Krishna provided everything for them. So Krishna can provide anything. But are we at that level of surrender? No. So we cannot, if we are, maybe some of you are, that's great. But we should not imitate somebody else's level of surrender. We should take inspiration from that and try to achieve that. We should not imitate. We should understand our position and work according to our position, our level of surrender, our level of bhakti, our level of devotion. So we have to work accordingly. So if we think we'll get more disturbed, if I don't have money, better go make money. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, we should try not to get so much attached to money that we try to live a very lavish life and forget Krishna. That's not the aim of life. So I'll stop here. It's already 9:02 a.m. and ask anybody has any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Today is a holiday.
Oh.
And if you're free, you can continue the class.
Oh, I didn't know. Why today is Friday, no?
Good Friday. It's Good Friday and it's holiday.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know it's Good Friday today. For me, every Friday is Good Friday. For me, it's a holiday every day. Well, it's Good Friday, so I've completely forgot. Otherwise, I could have prepared something on Lord Jesus Christ also. So today was the day when he was crucified, actually. Uh, he was put on the cross, and he was not just put on the cross. He wasn't sitting comfortably on the cross. He was nailed on the cross by these Roman soldiers. And what was his crime? I mean, generally, and along with Jesus Christ, they had nailed two thieves on the cross, on different two more crosses. So they had nailed those thieves on the cross. So thieves had committed a crime of stealing something. So what was the crime of Jesus Christ? The only crime he committed was he was preaching the message of Krishna. He was preaching the message of God. He was trying to make people surrender to God. So the empire, the king, he became scared that if people surrender to God, they will not listen to him. They'll not bow down to him. They will challenge his authority. So everybody in the material world, he wants power, position, money. He wants to be the controller. But people don't understand. We are not the controllers. Krishna is the controller. Supreme controller is Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna. Krishna is the Parameshwara. We are little Ishwaras. Okay. Krishna is the Parameshwara. Just muted Radhakrishna Prabhu's your mic. So this is very hard for, especially for kings, so powerful king, for them to understand. And somebody who preaches the message of bhakti, preaches the message of go take shelter of God, follow the instructions of God, follow the teachings of God. If somebody preaches like that, then it really becomes a problem for the kings. So they got envious of Jesus Christ. See, material world, everybody is envious of everybody else. And they put different blames on him and put different charges on him. Although everybody knew they were false charges. And they said, you have, and all these people, they had to go on a hill and they had to carry the cross themselves. That was the punishment. And while carrying the cross, when they were going on the hill, they were being beaten up by the soldiers. And so many people, they were lining on both sides of the road, they were crying. If you can just think of how Haridas Thakur was beaten up in 22 marketplaces, and people were crying, people were trying to stop the soldiers at the time of Haridas Thakur also. They wouldn't stop. And similarly here, the soldiers wouldn't stop beating Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ, ultimately, they all, along with these two thieves, they went on the hill, and the soldiers erected these crosses, and they nailed Jesus Christ on the cross, and the thieves also, and they put the cross up for them to die, for them to sit there and die. And this was like a message for everybody else, all the population: do not follow these people. Those two thieves, of course, they were ordinary people, so they died. But at least they died looking at Jesus Christ. They were there with Jesus Christ, so they got purified. But Jesus Christ, when he apparently left his body, although he's a spiritual person, apparently he left his body, but 3 days later, he resurrected. He came back. So that's why third day is the Easter. Sunday is the Easter, when they celebrate coming back of Jesus Christ. So of course, Jesus Christ, when he was being put on the cross, nailed on the cross, he prayed to Krishna, he prayed to God. He said, God, you forgive them. He was so compassionate for even these soldiers who were beating him up, who were nailing him. He was so compassionate for them. He said, he was begging to Krishna, please forgive them because they don't know what they're doing. That's how merciful, how compassionate Jesus Christ was. Of course, we cannot imitate Jesus Christ either. He is also a Mahajan. He can be considered a Mahajan. Definitely, he's a Mahajan. But we cannot imitate him. But we should learn from his teachings, learn from his life history, how he lived his life, and how he preached, even though he was suffering so much to establish this movement, preaching movement. He suffered so much, but he still kept on working for the pleasure of Krishna. So we should learn from his life, learn from his teachings, and try to adopt those teachings. So I think we should stop here because I also have to go somewhere. And if anybody has any questions, comments, great. Otherwise, we'll see everybody tomorrow evening. I guess not. So Hare Krishna, have a great day. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.